Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that.
Yeah,
Maybe
you're right.
such as rather than like, it just sounds better.
Yeah.
Just, sorry, I just want to make sure that we protect employees in Idaho
Oh,
from
yeah.
our legislators
Yeah, that's
defaulting
right.
to the lowest. Oh, I mean, they will, this is Idaho, they'll default to the least amount they can pay them. So in Washington, what they did, yet again, they pegged it to CPI, but they said in the years that CPI goes down, the minimum wage can't go down. So it can only ever go up, it never goes back down, even if they're, because like in 2008, when the economy went down and contracted, their wages stayed static that year, right? But then the next year, it went up again, so I wanna make sure that the league, I mean, if you guys are all in agreement, that we try to protect the most vulnerable citizens in our state from our legislators giving them as little of a wage as possible.
So am I hearing you correctly that you feel the safest way for us to have a determined living wage is by the consumer price index?
No.
No, you're not saying that?
How many more of these questions do we have?
Right.
This is it.
This is it.
Only these.
What time is it?
Yeah, well, it's
Okay.
getting lower than.
Let's, our secretary's been recording some things that have been going on. Would you like to read back what you've got there and see where we're at?
This may or may not be coherent, I don't know. There's a demonstrated social and economic need to increase the minimum wage in Idaho. Tying minimum wage in Idaho to the federal rate doesn't make sense because it doesn't take into account the uniqueness of Idaho's situations. That said, minimum wage should be established in Idaho that approaches, if not equals, a living wage in the state. The minimum wage should be indexed to whatever index you're using, which is updated at least on an annual basis. Because regions in Idaho have different factors that impact costs of living, cities in Idaho must be allowed by the legislature to set their own standards, preferably above what the state has, for a minimum wage or / living wage.
I think it'd be better to say localities have the right to increase over state set minimum wages. And it'd be less verbiage. Because I think that's what you're intending to say.
Yeah, that's what I probably was.
Yeah, so if you say, Idaho's minimum wage should be set at a living wage, and,
Appropriate for each location.
well, and localities can raise their,
Oh, it'd have to be a
Minimum
city
wage.
that does it, so
Yeah,
yeah,
you,
counties are.
county could do it.
yeah.
Well,
but,
counties
Well,
are
say
an arm of the
localities.
state, so.
That's the verbiage they use in these, a lot of these documents is, they talk about federal wages, and they talk about existing 9 localities in the United States currently having enacted minimum wage laws. So localities in Idaho could, like Boise or Moscow, could set a minimum wage that was even higher than
Right,
the
that's
state
what I was-
minimum.
Okay, but well, I guess my point was is that we would be in agreement
Right.
with number 5, it just depends on how we want to say it.
Yeah,
Because right now we can't, the legislature can
Yeah,
that.
but
Yeah.
blame that on McCall.
Yeah, well,
No, blame it on the legislature.
No, they.
I know they tried.
They voted to
voted
raise
it down,
minimum wage, so
yeah.
the
They
state
voted it
acted
down,
and
yeah.
They
said.
voted it
they
down.
voted it down,
yeah.
so.
Nancy?
So, when Murph was reading that, there was this comment toward the last that said something about preferably higher than the state's minimum or something to that effect. And I would certainly lose that preferably
Well,
language because
I think I
just the
threw that in.
example,
Yeah.
Tom
He doesn't have it
mentioned
written
this
down.
at the outset, referencing the city of Moscow's resolution 2006-18, which was rescinded in 2010. We neglected in 2006 to tie this to some kind of a index, it wasn't an
Oh.
index for annual increases. CPI or something like that. And when I brought that back to the city council with the intent of doing that and increasing the minimum for city employees and those contractors with whom the city did business exceeding $25,000 in a year, the city council said, oh yeah, that's still on the books, let's get rid of it altogether. So, it mostly affected janitorial services for the city, which I thought, you know.
Well, it's just more of that shift of,
But that could
income.
happen to us too, if we're not really careful about saying municipalities ought to have this authority. However, you know, what,
yeah, the
that
state
there
minimum wage.
is something protected at the state level too.
And to that end, in the beginning of those notes, it was mentioned should be equal to or approaching minimum, but approaching is not, or
No.
equal to or approaching livable, minimum wage should be equal, approaching livable wage, but livable wage is the same, is 1022 according to this, which is almost poverty wage for any other category other than a single person. So to my mind, it shouldn't, approaching should be insufficient, and it
I
should be
agree.
equal, there shouldn't be,
Yeah.
oh, well, we're approaching it over the next 8 years. We'll
Yeah.
set it, you know, it'll be 50% the difference, so.
The one thing I didn't hear, Mark, when you were reading your notes back was at the beginning when you said it doesn't make sense for us to tie the minimum wage. I think that we need to be clear that that means we need to be above minimum wage. And there's no way to say we're scratching minimum wage, we'll start from
Yeah,
the beginning and
Yeah.
oops, now we're at $6.15 an hour.
yeah.
And so the other thing is that we can only advocate for this. The League of Women Voters is not the policymaking body, so in order to add the carrots to this discussion, I think it's important to talk about being competitive with adjacent states, or, you know, that we are wanting workers to stay on jobs, and, you know, all those reasons that you have a livable wage. You want worker satisfaction, you want longevity, so you're not having to retrain people so that to reduce the amount of the cost for the employer. You want to be competitive across state lines or jurisdictional lines. A lot of different rationales for this in terms of putting the carrots in for the policymakers.
Well, one of the things I think that these statements that we're going to be sending to the league, they're gonna put them together and come up with a policy that they can present to, or a position they're going to present to the legislators. You take a legislature like we have now, and we've had for a while, you start throwing out the term livable wage, their brains are just gonna shut off.
Yep.
With no problem, and I think, you know, as much as I agree that a living wage is certainly appropriate for entry-level folks as well as other folks struggling, I don't know whether we need to be throwing living wage out there at
This time.
as much as we are doing, because the question is a minimum wage, and granted, yeah, we could say that minimum wage should be a living wage, but if we're dealing with Idaho legislature, I think,
I think it's still important to put it in there. because-
well, we can get it in there, I'm just,
Yeah,
you
oh yeah,
know,
they probably won't do anything about it. but-
shifting the emphasis a little bit, yeah, the chances of them acting on it
Yeah,
is
we
pretty
still need
slim.
to say,
But-
this is really how we feel.
Well, and I think it's also, it educates
Yeah.
them, that's part of why we do this, is to educate the legislature. And I say, let's put that phrase in their brains.
Okay, we have two
Livable
people
wage.
that want to comment and haven't said anything yet, you and Sandra, so I'll have you two.
So I guess I'll piggyback onto what you said really quick, but the legislature's gonna blow over this anyway, so we might as well get it out there, you know? I mean,
Yes,
really,
ma'am.
let's not try and be kind and gentle about it. Let's say we want a living wage because we can't live like this. I mean, I don't care that they're probably gonna overlook that. I think they're gonna overlook pretty much anything we give them, so let's get it all out there, let's be bold about it.
So, there's a huge difference between a minimum wage job that includes health insurance
Yep.
and a minimum wage job that does not.
Yep.
In terms of livability. And, you know, an employer with more than 50 employees is required to provide that health coverage, where a smaller employer is not. So there are more issues than just the minimum wage figure that go into the overall picture of can people survive on a 40-hour-a-week job. And I would love to see us throw something in about that healthcare issue and access to health insurance as being tied to employment affecting that livability. Don't know how to do that in response to these questions, but I mean, I just switched jobs.
Uh-oh.
And, well, yeah, but,
I moved over a state line and I lost my health insurance.
Let's let her finish, please.
exactly.
Yeah.
And for me and my family, the switch to a larger employer meant a reduction in cost of $525 a month for our health insurance. Now, the
So
fun,
you now don't pay it out of pocket, your employer pays it.
correct.
Okay.
But the initial source for those funds for both jobs is both the same federal organization.
By the way,
I
one
I
of
don't think that's fair
Yeah.
to anybody that, because it comes to the university, it costs me less than it did if it went to a nonprofit. I mean, there's,
one of the tax cuts that some Republican Congress people are considering is that you'll get a separate, if your employer provides health insurance, you will get an additional W-2 itemizing that they paid $500 a month. You will get another W-2 for another $6,000 a year in income that you will pay taxes on.